What's up, YouTube? I normally don't do this introduction for the Talking Cards podcast, but for this one, I really need to do it. My audio ended up cutting quite a lot on this one. I want to apologize for that. In the other end, all my guests have perfect audio, and I believe this is one of the best podcasts I ever recorded. If in the end, or even right now, you want to leave a like, I will be very thankful for that. At the end of the day, it's the best way to support my work. Now let's go into the podcast, and I hope you have fun. What's up, YouTube? Today I have amazing guests, as you guys can see. All of them are returning to the Talking Cards podcast. I have Al with me, I have Champ, and I have Nick, as known also as Nills. I said Champ, also known as, not also known, he's known as Champ, but his name is Andres. Beautiful name, by the way. But if you guys can share a couple of words at the beginning for people that may not know you, I believe at this point most of my viewers are aware. But let's start with Al.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Andre. I'm Al. Known kind of in most quarters is probably El Rey collection. I have a pretty expansive soccer collection, mostly vintage, but all the way up to 2020. Also have a YouTube channel called Epic Cardboard, where I do, other soccer videos, mostly player videos and vintage soccer cards.
Okay, actually, I talk about your channel actually a lot of times in my channel, but if people are not subscribed to you, that's a huge mistake. And I think Niels, Champ, we all agree you have some of the best content especially on vintage, but in general in the soccer card market.
Yeah, thank you.
No, my pleasure. So, Andres, Champ, feel free to do your presentation. One of the favorites of my viewers, people end up loving you. So, welcome back.
What's up? What's up? Thank you, Andre. Champ Vanderford, aka the Baggio of the Barrio, the Pele of the Melee, the Henri of the Army. Basically, I am a collector. Been in it now for almost 2 years now. Wow, that sounds crazy to even say. Definitely been a journey. I'm addicted. I love it. And just it's a very big thing for like me to be on this panel right here. This is really, really cool for me. And they could find me in multiple places. I'm still on a beach, like sun tanning, maybe at a local gym, helping older ladies stretch. It's always going to be me. And I'm just excited to be here. It's early morning in Houston. I came prepared. I brought the good stuff today.
Yeah, I also bought the green tea.
And just excited, man. Excited. I have a YouTube channel. It's considered the best YouTube channel in the world. I'm producing content at a turtle speed. And that's what it's about. When part 2 drops, it'll be good. And then part 3, part 4, a lot's coming. And I'm just taking my time with it right now, enjoying life, man. Life is good. Life is beautiful. So thank you guys for having me.
That's a great point, because the last time you ended up coming to podcast, you had just an Instagram profile. I know you are starting creating content. So I will leave the link also below for your YouTube channel. And I think the community in general.
Yeah, no, and just to tell you and Al, like, it is hard to make content. So I appreciate y'all's content even more so. Once I started to make content, I realized how much of a time, it takes a lot. And so I really appreciate you guys for that big time, man.
And last but not least, we have Nils, also a good friend of the channel. Nick, as known as the French collector in the community now. Feel free to present yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Andre, and pleasure to join these two esteemed gentlemen on this panel this morning. So, my name's Nick. Go by Nills on Instagram, Nills1010. Try to be pretty regular on both Discord, your Discord, and Bill's Collect Football Discord, Vintage Discord. So, just love this hobby, love vintage, been in it, same thing, we're approaching, 3 years, I guess, 2.5, 3 years, which sounds crazy again, but it's been an awesome ride. And just happy to be a part of it, and thankful for the community.
Sure. So, guys, I have a couple of topics for today's podcast, but I was explaining to start recording that those topics can go anywhere, and everyone should feel free to bring new topics if they have them in mind or they think they are relevant. But I will start with one that I think is possible to avoid. Pelé ended up passing away yesterday. Very sad news if you follow football card market, but probably the most important figure ever in football, in soccer. Actually, I would love to start with Al because most of you guys know he's one of the biggest collectors in the world, especially for Pelé. And Al, if you can share a couple of words, basically, again, feel free to say whatever you want, but even related with the market, I see there is a lot of FOMO right now for Pelé. What do you think about that?
Hey, Andre, give me 1 second. Maybe can you start with Champ? I just got package being delivered right now, so I got to go answer the door. Sorry about that.
No problem at all.
And it's probably something good. So
Yeah.
Hang on. No, I also have a lot of people over here for the holiday, but so it looks like somebody just got up is going to get it for me. So I hope it's good, Nick. So look at this is totally sad, but it's also not unsurprising, right? Because he's been ill for a while. He's advanced in age, so anytime this was an eventuality, right? So I don't think that anybody's overly surprised. There was some conversation in the World Cup. In fact, I think even some reputable news services reported that he was passing. So it shouldn't be, a big surprise to everyone. It's sad for us. I mean, I remember, I'm older than you guys, that the highlight of my youth was seeing Pele play with the Cosmos when they played the California Surf, right, in the 1970s. And of course, at that time, he's old, but that's the only name you knew in soccer. Right. If you were an American kid, right. Yeah. Ultimately, you'd also know other people who played in the U.S., Beckenbauer, Cruyff, Best, Eusebio. Right. But it really, it was like Pele and everybody else. Right. And I think still from a global brand awareness and of the things that we think about the positive soccer market, he's still the standard. Like when you hear, I don't know if you how it was in Portugal, but in the US, they're talking about Mbappe, and then they're talking about, they're always comparing him to who, right? Pele, right? Young, he wins the World Cup. The story is so romantic for soccer. And one thing that is really interesting to me is kind of a historian and economic historian is that when he came to America to play, he made like $1 million a year, right, to play soccer. And in a time when we didn't have really good soccer leagues or stadiums, they played in football stadiums or baseball stadiums. And he, the highest paid baseball player, made like $100,000. So just totally different level. And this is in America, right, where we don't really care about soccer in the 1970s. So that's how big this man was. And personally for me, he had, I gave up baseball to play soccer, on traveling teams. And a lot of it was this guy, right? Just the magic, the smile, the the charisma in his smile, all the things he could do. He was everywhere from a marketing perspective as well. So, I think that it's hard to how Maradona is basically considered a god in Argentina. I think that Pele is much more global, well beyond soccer. Like he may be the most well-known figure of the 20th century. That's crazy when you think about it, right? And so, I think that's where I like to focus. I don't, in these times, I don't love to focus kind of on the market. To each their own, right? There's usually some temporary price spikes as people fear that they're never going to be able to get a Pele, or they hear about it, or they're reminded. And legitimately, some people come into the markets into these times, right? When something crazy happens. So I do think, we'll get a little bit of that. But if history is any indication, which it usually is, I think that'll kind of subside a little bit, and it'll be a temporary demand spike, which may even be over, after one day. I got to be honest with you, right? Because as Nick was saying earlier, a lot of people listed things on eBay and stuff, and that that temporary blip in supply was met immediately with demand is met immediately with supply. I do hope that, it's hard for me to imagine. And again, the way I collect is different from other people. But it's hard to me to imagine a soccer collection without some Pele representation. Just because it's almost like a basketball collection without Michael Jordan, without something from Michael Jordan, right? And so to me, he will continue to be Ore, right, the king. I think you can make cases that many other players were better. You can make places that many other players were more accomplished. But for me, it's hard to imagine someone to have more impact on the game, really on the overall game and overall society. I'd probably say that Cruyff had more of an impact on how the game was played, but Pele promoted the game and and really had a lot to do with expansion and awareness of soccer in the United States, which, while it's not a huge part of our sporting interest right now, it definitely, those seeds were planted long ago. So, it's super sad, man. I bizarrely want to cry, right? Because he had an personal impact on me as well. So, it's a sad day. My daughter came into my office and she was basically, in tears, and, I never met the man, right? But he had a dramatic impact. And I personally also love to collect his cards because there's great stories behind there.
Oh, thank you so much. What you said was powerful right there. Again, there is nothing I can add into that. I don't have probably the same connection, especially I never collected Pele that much comparing even with the other guys. But what you said is correct. He's probably the most historical player ever. Actually, I was watching a YouTube video that ended up showing a couple of moments of it. They said that at one point, I believe early 2000, correct on this, but I believe it was early 2000, his name was the second most popular name in the world, just behind Jesus. So you can see how big Pele was. I think Pele was bigger than a player. And then blows my mind, again, a bit unrelated with this, but this year probably the most famous persons in the world end up dying, Queen Elizabeth and Pele, especially in a historical way. I think it does not get much bigger than these two. But yeah, I agree totally. Nick, if you want to add something.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. I think you guys both, said it very well. But as sad as it is, the one thing that I take out of this is, I think a lot of people are going to be brought, a little bit more close to him and realize how great he was. And there's a lot of, if you scroll on Twitter or Instagram, you're seeing a lot of, videos and YouTube clips and different things. And, it's Pele did it first. It's different turns, it's different strikes, it's bicycle kicks, it's all these things that we're seeing, in today's game. A lot of those moves and tricks and just the way he played and his style. He was one of the first to really bring that out. And I do think that just you're seeing all these legendary players, older ones that were maybe around, when he played, coming back out and saying like he was what inspired me, and then they inspired someone else. So like you can see the impact that he's had, and I think that's a positive for the sports, positive for the hobby. So anyone that may not have focused on him or paid attention to him as much because he was a little bit older, and they're more focused on the modern players. I think this will be an opportunity to maybe bring that to light, which I think is great just in general.
Sure. Andres, if you want to add something, feel free.
Yeah, I think for me, for what he had to endure in like a time frame, in the late 50s, early 60s, he had to endure a lot that he never spoke about. He probably never talked about. I look at him as someone like a Bill Russell, someone that had to go through so much that what they did on the field, on the court, it's ridiculous because their energy was drained of everybody trying to touch them, trying to grab them, terrible things being said to them, great things being said to them. And I felt that, he was somebody that he played his part. Like he knew what he was born to do. Like he knew that it was bigger than him, bigger than soccer. Like he was born to show love about this game and to spread it. I think his DNA is in every single football player, basketball player, hockey player. Like he is the athlete. My father, he used to coach. And he went and saw him play, I think his last game where he played the first half for one team, second half for like the other team. And my pops, I mean, that was the guy. Like he knew that he was the man. And for him to like be gone, I'm it's sad, it sucks. But at the same time, it's cool, kind of like what Nills said, that people that maybe didn't know about him, they're probably seeing everything, every news channel, everything talking about him. They like get to see all these highlights and really see how strong he was and everything. I mean, he cared about life, and you know what I mean? Like he was just bigger than anything. I mean, he is that guy. And for someone that was, from that time period to still be so popular today, there's certain basketball players that they could walk right now into a gym and nobody knows who they are. And I'm talking about legends. Pele can't do that. If he could go anywhere in any corner, every crevice of the world, everybody knew who he was. And so, it just, it's key word is just impact. He is football. Like there's just like nothing else to say. He is football.
Yeah, hey, champ, and I'll say, I saw one thing that kind of jumped out to me of the difference when something like this happens is, President Obama posted something, on Instagram where he's happy to get, a jersey from Pele, and he talks about how the power of sport and how that brings people together. And it just goes, I mean, he's just so much bigger than a sportsman, and the other topic that I forgot to mention is that there's, he also, people don't talk about this, but the game in the 50s and 60s was like harder, meaning like the fouls, like people would break their legs all the time in games. They would, break their arms. I mean, it was brutal. And the amount that he got fouled was absolutely insane. I think that, in the 62 World Cup, when he went out after the Czech Republic game, I mean, he got fouled like 15 times or something, right? And completely, I mean, the tactic wasn't let the amazing guy play. It was like, take him out, right? And so, and to have such a long career and ultimately come back in 1970 and be one of the best players in the tournament, it was just an amazing accomplishment. I again, just he's bigger than life. I think that was your point, champ, and I think that his DNA is through everyone in the game, and part of the reason why the game is where it is today. So, he'll be, well missed. I hope new Pele collectors come into the market, because then Pele collectors become Maradona collectors, become Cruyff collectors, become, some of them go back and are Dixie Dean collectors, and some of them are Zidane collectors, right? So I think, what the hobby has always needed, which we started talking about a couple of years ago, Bill and I, was a steady growth of interest. And events like this can be a perpetuate, to get some incremental people in the hobby. And we don't need 100,000 new entrants, right? Even 50, 100 committed people globally, which is not a big number, helps the market and stabilize the market. Some of the things we'll talk about here in the next little while.
No, for sure, guys. Again, I agree with everything you guys said. When I was a kid, my grandpa did not care about football, but he knew about two players, Eusébio and Pelé. So since I was a kid, Pelé was already such. I remember being a kid and thinking about him like a guy that does not even exist, because the way people talked about him. And honestly, this might sound a bit dumb, but I realized that Pelé was alive when I was a little bit older, because I always thought was almost a legend figure or something like that. So he's bigger than football. The second topic I have for this conversation is also related with a very important market, Lionel Messi, and the potentially narrative about his GOAT status with this World Cup win. I think most people are putting him in top four, even previous the World Cup. But I think his market, especially long run, can gain a lot because of this. Love to know what you guys think. Let's start with Nick this time.
I'm glad you started with me. I'm probably the one on here that was a little bit down on Messi prior to the World Cup. I didn't quite hold him at that top tier, and it was simply because of the World Cup. And fair or unfair, it's just something that me, and maybe it's me as an American, I just hold the World Cup and such prestige. And my reasoning is I think in general it's the tournament that every soccer player around the world wants to win. It's the most important to them. So if it's the most important to them, why should it not be the most important to me or anyone who is sort of using that as a scale to grade them of where they are in that goat status. So but at the end of the day, he got the job done, and for me it eliminates any question. He becomes right up there with Pele. It's Pele and him to me, 1-2, 2-1, whatever you say. I think he eclipses Maradona for me. He definitely has increased the gap between him and Ronaldo, which I know you've produced a video on, and Al's discussed a little bit as well. There's no doubt that gap is widened. It was widening pre-World Cup, and now it just took it to another level. So really happy for him. I mean, I'm a French collector and I support the French team, and I really sort of it was such an interesting final with the potential of Mbappe having a second at 23, and Messi getting his, where I was obviously rooting for France, but I was happy as well when Argentina won, because that performance he had. I mean, and he didn't coast into a victory. He wasn't just part of the team. Like he willed that team to win, and that was just for me, like the GOATs are the ones that have those special moments and they like drive their team to win. Michael Jordan with the flu game, or so like you have these moments where you just say, I'm not losing today. I'm the guy. And he hadn't had that moment until recently. So anyway, happy for him. Happy for all the Messi collectors. Certainly, I think it'll be a nice shot in the arm for that market, even if it's temporarily. But yeah, he's definitely I think the biggest thing is he has widened that gap with Ronaldo, which he was always going to be, compared to, or vice versa. And then, the next argument is where does he stand next to Maradona? And to me, everything matches up, and his club career is probably better. So I have him a slight notch above, but that's definitely up for debate.
But yes, what share also your thoughts?
So first, I just want to say something. When y'all say like CR7, like could we say Cristiano? Because y'all say and I literally get butterflies in my stomach. I start to sweat. I'm like R9, R9. So yeah, no. What Nills said, we right, we the world got the storybook World Cup of like World Cups. We got to see a legend score. Every game was intense. Like every game after the first like group stages, he did something in every game. And kind of like what Nills said, it's like that's when you got to show up. I have a couple of friends that always said the same thing, because over here it's about World Cups. They don't care about Champions League and all that type of stuff. And so for like a lot of them, it was like he's got to do it in this World Cup, and he goes out and does it. He did it so beautiful. He played so well. You could literally see that team. I saw a vibe that I saw with Pele and Brazil, where they looked at him like we're gonna win for him. I mean, of course they want to win as well, but it felt to me like they really wanted it for him, because they know how hard he trains, how quiet he is about a lot of things. We were actually saying how he doesn't even speak English, so he's real quiet. People don't really know what's up here, really. Like with other players, they're tweeting, Instagramming. With Messi, you just see him with his kids, his family, his dog, and his team. You never see him do anything like partying and doing all crazy stuff. So as far as he did need this, I feel, and he got it. I love it that it was against France, and not in a bad way, Nills. Like what I'm saying is we got to see what's coming. Like, and he's coming. He's right now, we all know who I'm talking about. He's coming. He's vicious. And so to see Messi be able to beat him was really cool, right? Like for just going into like the books, like that he did it. He did everything possible in football. He got every award, everything that you could possibly do. He did it. And as far as the what's called like market, I obviously mistimed my entire collection. I went in it on All-Star Weekend. This is how I think. I was thinking, oh, it's All-Star Weekend. No one's gonna be buying Messi. And it wasn't until that point that I knew that the market was gonna keep going down. But that said, I'm glad I was able to get Messi stuff. Like I hold it dear. I love it. I don't have a lot. He's actually someone I maybe have like 8 cards or stickers probably. Like, so I don't really have a lot, but I have, good stuff that I feel going, forward. But it was a beautiful spectacle to watch, right, gentlemen? It was such an intense game. My like kids were like coming in the room. I'm like yelling with them. I'm 41. I felt like I was 7 or 8 years old watching it. And I know on both what's called like Discords, people were intense, excited. And we are grown men with our own, everyone has their bills, their families, their lives. And we were stuck to this TV for a month. We were on Twitter, on Instagram, and any report was coming up, we was reading. So I think it's time for the hat, because I'm starting to really feel this a little bit. But shout out to Messi for just like entertaining us, right? He did it with class. He even has a bodyguard that one player that's always like right next to him in case somebody gets out of pocket.
I just don't think Messi watches the channel, but no, but I agree with you. Ali, if you want to share your thoughts on the Messi market. So guys, quick pause on the video. Hope you are enjoying this episode. For me, it's an amazing one, so do not forget to leave a like. But now I have to share with you two things that are very important for this channel. First is my Patreon community, the best way to support my work. If you love my content on YouTube, you probably love my content on Patreon. You pay $10, but I try to provide a lot of value there. There is a new Q&A every week and the extra audio on Saturday. So if you have questions, if you want to interact with me, that's the best place. Link will be below the video if you want to join. The second thing is my Discord server, also an amazing community. We are more than 900 members. I think that's so crazy. Amazing place to learn and share. Link will also be below the video. And now let's continue with the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you guys said, absolutely right. I mean, it was crazy time. So happy to see him. I will disagree with these guys that I don't think he needed this, but I think what it did was just put him over the top versus in the CR7 conversation. I think, I actually recently was describing this with Bill. If to my mind, it's like for a large part of history, let's say the last 5 to 7 years, they're pretty much equals in my mind. And Ronaldo has the Euros, right? That's that major tournament. Even though he didn't super perform well, like if you look at the performance of Messi in the World Cup, that way exceeds the performance of Ronaldo in the 2016 Euros, right? But Ronaldo has more goals, but Messi has way more assists, right? But he also had the major tournament. Yeah, when Messi lost, and I don't know if you guys remember, I mean, I was there when he missed the penalty kick in Copa America to lose to Chile. That was and then he quit the Argentine team. And then to see from that low to this high and to get that World Cup when they were 14-1, betting odds to win the World Cup is absolutely masterful. It doesn't hurt him that at the same time Cristiano Ronaldo's not looking great to a lot of people in the market with his exit from Manchester United, with going to play in Saudi Arabia. Looks like a little bit of a sellout to some people. Again, I'm not saying these are my views. I'm just saying in general, I felt like not only did Messi take a gigantic step up, but CR7 took a step backwards. And since they were relatively close, now that gap is there. And I think that it's permanent unless some miraculous way CR7 bounces back, ultimately comes back and plays in 2026 and miraculously finds a way to win a World Cup himself, which I think we'll all say is highly unlikely. And if he did, he'd likely be coming off the bench like he even did in this World Cup, right? Which is something obviously he didn't like. So, I think Messi is there now. I don't think there's anything that he could do. And I only think now to the Messi market, which is kind of the question. If he comes and plays in the U.S., lots of rumors about him coming to play in Miami. With all the marketing that comes with that, I mean, he could be the second coming of Pele. And I think that could be a massive increase in demand. But also remember, you've done videos on it, Andre. There's many options for his rookie cards and stickers. And so don't always equate, and this is just general advice to people, don't always equate who a player is with the value of the cards and stickers, especially when there are many options. And CR7, from a collecting perspective, still only has 2 rookies, right? So, people, I can already hear some arguments saying, wow, the 71 bis should be selling for, twice as much as the Mega Cracks CR7. Well, maybe, but the reality is you need to look at the pops. You need to look at all of the options out there and kind of understand a relative market cap. And what you may actually find is that a Mega Cracks Ronaldo, or I don't want to say that, or CR7, we don't want to upset Champ here. So it could actually be at a higher price than a 71 bis due to many factors. So just And I think that's an important distinction for the market. But I think in general places where they have comparable cards, like you guys do, the trebles or, whatever, I think that you'll see a lasting, or kabooms or any of these modern inserts where they're generally similar cards later career. I think we'll see a difference, and now somewhat permanent difference in price going forward. And you know what? It's a great time to buy Messi after this decimated year that we had in 2022. It was not a great year. I'd say year and a half for him. It's just been like a ratcheting down of almost all of his cards in a pretty consistent basis. So if you're a long-term investor and you believe in the soccer market, why wouldn't you be picking up, Messi? Could they go down from here? Sure. But that's the same of every asset, right? If you bought Tesla 2 weeks ago, you thought you were getting a deal, and now you're 30% down. But if you believe they're still going to change the world, maybe it ends up being a good thing for you. By the way, I'm not giving financial advice, and I don't own or sell Tesla stock. But anyway, so that's kind of my thought. I mean, epic World Cup. Don't equate the player to the market. Do your research on the market. Figure out your entry points, and I'm just excited for all soccer. And if he comes to the U.S., watch out. I mean, way better for the soccer market that he comes to the U.S. than CR7 going to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yes, not even comparable. I agree. And what you said is basically what I also been trying to share on this channel. That when I say the gap is not, I'm not even talking about the rookie market, because they have very different rookie material. Ronaldo is quite more scarce than Messi. This is more a macro take, and especially in modern is where you see the gap. I also think that in a couple of probably years, we'll look at this Argentina team and we'll think, how the hell Messi ended up winning with this? Because I don't even think this is a great team. I really think Messi ended up pushing them to a level that, for example, I don't see Argentina being that strong in 26.
That's why they were 14-1. I mean, the U.S. was like 20-1, just to, have that type of comparison. But like I think Champ said, he got them to believe, and those that leadership, which frankly hasn't been on clear display through his career because he's a soft leader, right? But and to me, in the end, to go to Nills' point about where is he versus Maradona, because Maradona also did not have a good team in '86, right? Now, I actually think that the '86 team, relative to the competition, was probably even worse than this Argentine team. But, so, and in my mind, what Maradona did at Napoli was just crazy. Bringing them from like the ranks of relegation to winning the Serie A. So I think that's that was more difficult to do than all of the Barca success, to my eyes, right? So I think he finally got, and they're on the same pedestal, and the Argentines love them the same amount, finally, because they didn't love him for a long time, right? So I do feel like we are at a spot where he just cemented the legacy, and he is just an amazing player, and I think we should all collect his cards. Again, it's kind of like Pele. If you're a soccer fan, why wouldn't you collect Messi cards, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. Actually, a question related with this. Actually, it's funny that I'll end up leaving, because I was trying to refer with the conversation I had with him, that we end up talking about Argentina cards for Messi versus Barcelona cards. That, for example, the Prism sells for a lot and is related to Argentina, and the history with Argentina until a couple of weeks ago was not that great. But what do you guys think now? Do you guys think that Argentina cards can be more important than Barcelona cards, or you guys still think Barcelona product will have a better connection with Messi? And before I even ask any of you guys, I end up running a poll on my YouTube that has over 100 votes. Barcelona ended up winning with 70%. Even I did this after the World Cup, so I believe if I do this in 2 years, probably could be even higher. And I guess I can already share my perspective. I also connect Messi much more with Barcelona than I connect with Argentina, even though I understand that what he did for Argentina was great. But what do you think, Andres, about this?
Um, well, in I, I would say club first, but in this case, he held the trophy in that blue jersey, in that sky blue jersey. I think
So,
our
Andres, better say, I'm sorry. If you could only have one card, you prefer, and forget prices, it's irrelevant. It's just one card
oh
that you keep. Would you prefer a card with Barcelona
Argentina,
or with Argentina?
Argentina,
Okay.
Argentina. It's that's just for me when me being a gringo. I feel like for us, that's a big victory here in the States that he won in that jersey. I'm sure you ask a lot of our like casual fans, they don't even know what team he's on or was on in Spain. They just know him as with that sky blue and white. And so for me, I would take Messi, number 10, flawless, what I'm saying, like eminence. I'd take one of those any day of the week over, like Barca tops chrome. Like I would take those two over that any day of the week. So, and this
Oh,
is coming from
that's
a
fair.
Colombia fan. You know what I mean? Like I'm not supposed to like Messi. I'm supposed to curse him and hate him. Just because of the whole beef between Colombians and those guys. Like our like we were taught, and this is really messed up to say, but we were taught to look down on people from Argentina, like just based on sports, right? But the way he did it, man, he showed up. He clocked in when he had to clock in. So for me, definitely that like sky blue jersey.
Okay. Al, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm a Barca fan.
Yeah, it's like
And
I'm in the same boat. It's difficult for me
you
to
know,
go with Barcelona.
and I surprise myself that so like obviously before the World Cup, the easiest question ever, right?
Exactly.
100% Barca. Never done anything in the Argentina jersey. It's totally cursed. I think it's more. My answer is probably more nuanced. Any 2022 product, right? Definitely want him in the Argentina jersey, especially if it's a World Cup sticker or obviously which is only that. But I think those are now going to be like the '86 Maradona World Cup sticker. Like people are going to want to put together the rainbows, on the U.S. issues. So I think that right now though on the margin, if I only could pick one. Shockingly, and it may be just because it's so recent, I actually may pick Argentina. Just because I think it is so big what he just did. But even the fact that I said that out loud shocks me because it would have been 5x Barca until now.
No, but again, I also think there is a lot of people also having that internal debate. Now, the changing a bit is market. That's the reality. What about you, Nils?
I'll keep it short. Argentina for sure. It just, to me, it's way more important of an accomplishment than anything that he had done, previously. So he'll be remembered, I think, as a whole for this World Cup victory by the masses more so than his Barca career, especially in Argentina, but I think the U.S. As well. As we don't really aren't as engaged, as a whole. I think with the Champions League, so the World Cup, really stands out. And that's, my opinion, that's where legends are made. If you think of a lot of guys, like Zidane, to me, Zidane's a legend because of the World Cup in '98. Yeah, he had, some other, he had Champions League and he had some other championships, and played, had a solid club career, but he's a legend and someone that's discussed and, potentially a top 10 of all time because he won the World Cup, not because he played for Real Madrid or had a game winning, amazing volley, in the Champions League final. It's because of his two headers in 1998 that won the final. And I think the same, long term, 20 years from now, Messi will be known more for this Argentina win. So I would go that for sure.
All quite valid. I'm a bit alone on this one. I still connect Messi more with Barcelona. For me, Messi with Barcelona is Michael Jordan with Bulls. The way I look at things, being quite honest. And my dream for Messi career would be finishing at Barcelona. I would love that. Probably for the market, I agree. Going to America could be even better, but putting all of that out of the way, I really would like for Messi to end at Barcelona. So the next topic is 2023 expectations for the soccer card market. This is a very open topic. So let's start with Alan on this one. Next year, share with all of us from your knowledge 1 or 2 expectations. So you actually made a video similar to mine, I believe, probably 1 year ago, more or less, about what we expect for the market. This is basically a preview of your new video.
Yeah, I actually am making or have jotted down. I'm still finalizing some of my thoughts, but I'll share some ideas. I still haven't completely fine-tuned what I think. Like when you do these videos, like you're talking with Champ and yourself, it takes a lot of time to make sure that you think what you think, based on data and research and other things. So you kind of come to these conclusions. So it might vary a little bit differently, but I feel like 2023 is likely to be what I call kind of a basing year. And basing year, you've seen we had parabolic increases and then we had catastrophic decreases across a number of cards. There are always exceptions, just like in the stock market, when 9 stocks are red, there's a stock that's green, right? So there's always blips. But when I look at it in 2023, what I believe is most likely to occur is, because we're going to have headwind of the economy, right? I don't think it's hard to find anyone out there that doesn't expect some recession, whether it's slight or not, right? So that's going to impact people's wallets. All sorts of people now talking about how there's going to be millions of layoffs here in the US, right? That's going to affect purchasing power, right? Interest rates are up, considerably. So people can't, borrow to get things. So there's many different macro demand crushers out there that many people would think, hey, you're on this downward line. Why do you not just continue on it? But I think that we've seen, at least I'll tell you in the context that I have with collectors, there's a huge excitement of collectors getting into things that they never thought they could get into. And could things go down from here? Sure. But I mean, it's amazing what you can, what you could get for $5,000 in PWC in February to now is like totally different. And $5,000, don't get me wrong, is a lot of money, and not a lot of people have that as disposable or available to invest in soccer cards. But you could just get a crazy collection for that amount for soccer. And I think that this, I'm not sure that the general market with the collectors that we have are going to let things go much lower than they are, because they've fallen substantially, and you can get into many cards for pre-boom type prices, but the interest level is still way higher than it was before. So I never try to call bottoms, right? Because I think that's an impossible task. And if I could call a bottom, I'd be retired on the beach. I wouldn't be working, so, but I do think that we're going to have this, we've been having this consolidation. The flippers are mostly gone because they can't make any money. And so now we got a bunch of collectors around here. And this is going to be, I think a wonderful time, and even better because I don't think the bounce back is not likely to be, quick. There's no catalysts. So I think 2023 is going to be a relatively stable year. And honestly, I think that's great for the soccer card market. Because parabolic increases bring the wrong types of folks in, decreases depress people. So a basing period, I think is most likely is really good for the soccer market. This is kind of where, myself or Scott or Noel or Bill, we're very used to this. Paul Bowditch, very, very used to this kind of stability, with a few players that do something amazing, right? And then they get, they get noticed. So that's one of the, I think that's the biggest one, that I think, and I actually think that we're going to see. I'll segue into my one of my other things that I'm talking about for 2023 is I think we're going to continue to see interest in the collecting space, right? So I don't know how many subscribers. I haven't heard kind of an update from you on how many you have on your Discord, but I think we're pretty close to 1,000 on the vintage Discord. We've been around longer than the soccer study one, but that's pretty dang impressive. And despite the market going like this, we're getting more and more people. And I think that's generally, it was not at the rate that it was right during the boom, but that makes sense. And so I think just getting people educated, getting this basing process through, and getting more people in the hobby are super healthy things for the long run. Again, this is not a place to make a quick buck. Transaction costs are way too high. So if you buy it today, you got to sell for 20% more to break even, because that's what PwC or somebody or eBay is going to take out of you. So if you're in it for the short-term flip, it's going to be a rough grind for you. And I think that's okay. I mean, look, at flippers do help the market with some liquidity, but I think that we're also going to see, well, here, I'll give you my third one, which is we have a lot of cards will show their more true rarity. And what do I mean by that? It means like, okay, right now you would think that the Baggio Forza goal is incredibly common because there's been one at auction every month for the last 5 months, right? And so you're like, oh, that's great. It's a pop 10 card, right? So and these are all PSA copies flipping back and forth, right? Ooh, nice. You happen to have one, man, on demand. Look at that guy. So you'd think that's a thing. We talk about the Alifa pops and kind of the hands that they're in. We haven't seen one of those at auction for the last 3 months. We used to see like 2 or 3 a month. So I think that some of these, as they move into collectors' hands, the more you're going to start seeing less and less of these, really premium cards and stickers that are kind of the foundation of marquee collections. And we're going to all start to appreciate how tough some of this stuff is. So those are 3. I'm working on 13. That hopefully I had pretty good record on the good and the bad in 2012. I'll actually do a review of those as well. But people like to hear these predictions, and the good news is I had some bad ones in 2012 that I got some hate on, including calling the demise of the Messi market. There's not a lot of negatives I see from this point because so much has been priced in, right? So I don't see a ton of negatives. Maybe a slowing down of the expansion of grading. Like maybe PSA with all this mess they have with Lukens, they ultimately don't set up as quickly as we would have liked. That's not great for the market. But anyway, so those are a couple things for 2023. With that, I'm going to shut up. And if you want more, come check out my video when I launch it.
What about you, Nick? Any predictions for 2023?
Me or Nills?
Could be Nills. I said Nick.
Oh, all right. Nills is up. All right. So, I mean, I think again, Al's put some thought into us, and hit some of the things that I probably would have said. But the one thing is, there's really no catalyst to see a major increase anytime soon, and I think that's worth noting. And there might not be any major catalyst until 2026. That's just the reality of where we're in. But that doesn't necessarily mean everything's doom and gloom. So I think it's important to realize both of those things. We're probably going to be in a time of more of a consolation baseline, as Al said. Um, you know, different pockets of the market are going to do different things too. You know, general, generally speaking, I think if you're, in more of a, um, pre-war vintage, where we're starting to get a better understanding of rarity and pops, you'll probably won't see as much fluctuation. Pre-modern, we've had a ton of fluctuation, and that's basically based on pop increase for the most part. And I've said this a few times too, but I think it's important to realize, long term, even some of these pop increases are not crazy, and they've started to slow down. So to Al's point, I think this year will give us a much better understanding. And I think we're almost already there with a lot of issues. But we'll have a much better understanding of where things are going to go forward, because we've had 2-3 years of people just searching and grading, and with big prices bringing things to market. Prices have gone down. That's going to slow some of those things coming to market to come down, and a lot of them have already come out, and there's just not going to be a ton out there. And you could talk about plenty of issues. I mean, Zidane rookie, went from 20 to 100. Is 100 a lot? I don't think so long term, and I don't think there's going to be 100 more in the next year. With people looking, but I could see where that could scare someone who bought it when there was 20, and now all of a sudden there's 100. And I think that happened at a lot more rapid pace in the pre-modern market, which I spend a lot of time in. So I can see the reason for concern, but I think we'll have a little bit more clarity in this next year going forward. Outside of any major issue with fakes, I think we're going to see a nice sort of consolidation in that market and backwards. Modern, I can't really speak too much to that because I don't play in that market much. But yeah, I'm excited as a collector, as Al mentioned. This is a great time because not only are things popping up that you didn't think you had a chance at, you've been in the market longer, so you're realizing, have a better understanding of rarity. You're able to maybe consolidate some things that either you've realized now that you don't need, or you think you can get back. So I've been doing a lot of that, and there still is plenty of things to find if you're willing to do the grind. And that's something that I spend a lot of time on, going to various sites and making various connections. And I'm still finding some really, really nice raw cards in that pre-war vintage space. Yeah, I mean, and you're talking, $60. And if you catch the right person at the right time, or find the right listing, I mean, finding a Copa from French eBay for $60 that no one's ever seen before, you can't. I mean, that's still happening quite regularly. So for me, it's still exciting because those opportunities exist. But then the cards that we are a little bit more familiar about, that maybe 2 years ago I didn't think I had a chance, prices have come down, and now I'm able to make some moves to try to acquire some of those pieces. So I'm super excited. Going to be more excited for 2023 just from that standpoint.
Very, very well said.
Yeah.
Yes. I know you are more into pre-modern, so I would love to know
No, but
also.
this is the greatest question, right? Because I'm literally the last person to ask about the market. But
I
so
actually don't agree with that, to be honest, because if you are operating in the market, you get knowledge over time, and I see what you buy, and I can see the reason behind. So I think you should give
it's just
yourself
like
more credit.
no, is I just say it because like I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like I get this now. I'm blessed though because I've been around. I mean, look at this panel. I've been around. I feel the right people to kind of learn. Really learn about stuff. I feel like look, I don't want stuff to do the whole what's called like Batman thing, where it shoots up, drops, shoots up again, and then drops. I wanted to do the steady growth, like thingy right? Where it just slow and steady. And what Neil said, yesterday's pop report is not today's pop report. Um, I learned early on, and I'm still learning that there's guys out there with as far as what's called like pre-modern from like 1980 to like 2013 2014. That I think that stuff is just scratching like the surface, and that's why it's beautiful for me to see like pre-war, right, vintage. I think those markets are in a great space right now, and this is coming from me, the pre-modern prima donna, right? Like I'm seeing stuff now that I thought was impossible for me to have a year ago. And obviously now that I know about what to kind of grab and what I want going forward, it's been a fun time for me the last like 2 or 3 months. But I'm in it. Like I said, I've never sold a card. I'm literally the last true
It's
like collector
crazy.
alive. So it's kind of crazy for me to see how everything has changed in like a year and a half. And as a collector, I am beyond excited. Like Nills knows, every day I'm finding stuff like that I literally thought was impossible for me to have. I literally there's certain items that I've grabbed in the last 2 months that I thought I wouldn't get until I was filthy rich, like till I was like super wealthy, 20 companies, like 3 restaurants. But now that I've been just grinding, I know what to get. I'm around two folks, Nills and Seb, daily that I mean, these guys are grinders. Like, so I see what they're going after. And these guys are like Marty McFly and Back to the Future. Like, they're so ahead right now that they're finding stuff for pennies. And it's stuff that kind of what Neil said that people haven't seen. So I'm kind of like cheating. I'm kind of like sitting next to like the smartest kid in like in like the class. I'm here arriving late, smelling like drugs, and these guys are putting in the grind and but I'm happy about where this is going. I think what the amount of information that is in both discords for people that truly want it, because there's people that jump in, but I think what we need is people like us, people that are really going to do the work. And me, I'm blessed that I'm able to really learn, really grind. I have a list of things that I know, like I want this, I want this, I want this. And so now that it's coming up, I'm grabbing it. And I'm feeling good about where all that's going, like going forward. My PC is a whole nother thing. That's like stuff that I grab. I don't care about the price. But all of these pieces that I've been investing in now, like I'm like the happiest person in the world. I just want people to come in and really be about it, really be able to do the work, not just come in and say, hey, what's the rarest Messi card? What's the rarest R9 card? No, look it up. Go on eBay, see what pops up a lot. Look at people's pages. What items do you see that that you rarely see? That's the stuff that really, it tickles my fancy, as they say. Whenever I see someone post up, I don't care if it's 1920, anything. When it's something that you don't see, and then once you hear these backstories, you start to make all of these notes. Like, okay, so this was only made like right before what's called like World War One. Germany got bombed, so now this is considered beyond rare. That's the stuff that keeps me interested. And these are players that I didn't even see, but just that I'm in this now, I feel like I have a good grasp on it. I'm not where Nills is at yet. Nills, I think, is on a, like I said, him and Seb are like on a whole nother level. But I'm going there. I'm steadily seeing that they're making this path that I think once you're in this, you naturally do that. You naturally get in, and then you keep going deeper and deeper, and before you know it, you're in territories that no one's been in, and that's when you're just grinding daily and doing it. So I hope the market stays this low, personally, because I feel like there's a few things still on my like kill list that I need. I don't want the market to go up anytime soon. That's just my personal preference. I had people get mad at me for saying that the market was going to go down for 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, it's just what it, in my opinion, with what I've seen, that's what I feel is going to happen. But what Al said, and Nils, like, we got smart mother effers that are really putting in the time and learning. We're all getting taught as a group, as a whole, and that's only going to be better going forward for us, like meeting all of us, like Andre, Al, Nils, like that everyone is learning all this stuff that maybe it took Andre years to learn. It took Al years to learn and grind for. Someone like me comes in with that want to learn about it. I'm able to get this stuff, and then I'm like teaching. Some people are asking me stuff, and it's like the creepiest thing, because I'm like, you really want to ask me about information on stuff? Like, but that just goes to show how blessed we are in this space, that people share information, people post stuff every freaking day that I've never seen, that Scott's never seen, that Bill's never seen. And that's when you know that we're so early. I think early is a bad word for it. We're like on day 4. If the earth was created in 7 days, we're on like day 4 right now. There's no like Adam and Eve yet. There's nothing yet right now. It's just dinosaurs and uncharted lands right now that we're still in. I think 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when everything settles, what's called pop reports and everything, we'll really be able to know. But I think the guys in pre-war and vintage, they have a good grasp of what's truly rare and what's not. In pre-modern right now, I'm buying just like R9 stuff and certain key people that I want. But I'm kind of venturing right now into vintage and pre-war. I kind of already kind of played around in, but that's just me. I love it though. But I hope that in 2023 it stays the way it is. I hope it keeps kind of trickling down. We're seeing certain issues that are just shooting through the roof when you look at vintage and pre-war. And I think that's great. When I see certain ones and then you see these key like folks going after those, that's what I want to see with like pre-modern in about like a decade, where something comes up and it's like, yo, I haven't seen that before. Like, and then people start to attack it, but, let's cheers to 2023 to being the same way it is right now, to just steady going down a little bit. Because that's just great for all of us going forward. Because I think all of us here are collectors at heart.
And that's actually the last point I would love to make on this is, if you are a collector, any market is good. I mean, when things are going up, well, maybe you can make some money for you being patient and staying on the market for so long. When things are going down, it's also an amazing market. So I think actually I have a video with the title "Enjoy This Market." And people thought I was saying enjoy this market in particular, but I think that title serves for any market. Even if we are in a bull run, enjoy that market. I think all markets are great. It's all about perspective and never overcommit. The dollar cost averaging idea is because if you go to all-in, well, again, you can get very lucky and your entry point is amazing, but there is also a chance that are not buying at the correct time. So dollar cost averaging, I do not agree with you with one thing, Andres. I think buying and selling is very important. I think you also should sell. Maybe you don't need, but for most people having that idea, because when you don't sell, sometimes you also get a wrong idea of what your collection is worth, and then the reality you face in the market be quite harsh. Not saying it is your case, by the way, Andres, but I think advice that a lot of
people should be selling. I even though I don't do it, I see why it's very necessary. I'm just blessed. I think like, but I think yes, it's very healthy for you to be trading up, getting rid of your, doubles, your copies that, you might have two PS8s, one of them's a little off center, flip that one. And really know what you truly want to keep. I think I get attached. I be talking to my cards. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think in my case, I'm just so attached with what I've gotten that I'm terrified of selling. And I've tried to sell and I feel like I'm doing something bad. I feel like I'm like, like scaring kids or like doing something I shouldn't be doing. But you're absolutely right. I think in any market, you have to keep trying to keep going up. I think in my case, I came in of, I'm a very different breed, I think. And it's just like I'm just able to just kind of buy what I like. But yeah, please, if you're watching this, sell, trade up.
Okay, no, okay, sell. You, if you want, of course, this is a general
Not do
idea.
what I do. Please don't do what I do. That if you try to do what I do, you'll be your wife will divorce you, your kids will have a father, and you'll be filing for like bankruptcy. I had my accountant came in. He looked at my like personal books, not the business books, and he literally told me, he goes, "Look, man," he was like, let's sit down and talk and have a coffee. And I'm already sweating. I'm like, I already know what this dude's gonna say. He's like, "Look, man," he was like, "Do you want to keep buying cards?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." Like I told him, I love it. He goes, "Okay, stop for 6 weeks, get you a rental property, and then keep going back to cards." He was like, "Do this every 3 or 4 months. So you can do this." He was like, "Because if you're really into this, I'm not going to sit there and tell you what to do with your money." So I did that. I want to say the last 2 months, I slowed down heavily and I got me this other property. And in my mind, I'm now this is going to sound really messed up, right? I get this property and I don't know if I was more excited about that I was going to be able to get back into purchasing cards or that I got the property. Like I was in this thing where it was like, so I could buy cards now, like, and that's literally what I feel is going to work for me. Like, I feel like the next year I want to get 2 more spots. And after that, I think by 2024, I'm going to be full throttle soccer dad and card collector. I don't, I feel like once I have a established group of assets that I could make money off and, invest, I'll be able to feed this addiction that, I tell my kids all the time, like, good luck in 20 years. like just, take dad's cards, do whatever you want to do with it. Like, hopefully everything will be good. I'm starting this little like color code system that I kind of got from Al and his great wife. They're telling me that each card that has a certain color. So I went through and I kind of made like my own little thing for it. And I think that's where it's at, but I gotta sell. I know I gotta sell. I'm terrified of selling. I will cross that street soon enough. But I'm just, y'all know I'm addicted. Like I'm full blown crackhead. Like
I think I speak for all of us here that you inspire us to a certain point with your passion. Always trying to.
I don't know if it's passion or kind of a little loony up top. I don't know which one it really is. Like,
but the line is very difficult to say. But
no, I'm hey Andre. I've always said it. I'm blessed. My mother worked so hard for me. She worked hard for like so many people that I was able to kind of just get out of a lot of debt that our business had kind of like tagged up, and I was able to get all this knocked off. And then once I started getting money, it was like I found this lane. That's why I'm really passionate about these cards. They gave me a whole new like bloodstream into my heart. It's something that I love doing every day. When I'm with my kids, I'm at a red light. I'm looking on eBay. I'm looking at the Discord constantly. I want to give a shout out to Seb. He's right there. I'm going to show him later. There, right there. Just because him and Nills, they're people that I talk to every day, and they know that this is my life. Like is restaurant, properties, and cards. That's it. I do those 3 things for my kids. You know,
Actually,
uh,
let me say one thing. I never had Seb on the podcast, and if you are watching this, Seb, you are invited. But I'm not sure if you if you want to be on
I've,
this or not.
I've tried everything. Seb won't do. Here's Seb right here. I have a photo of Seb.
Oh,
That's Seb right there.
and yeah,
No,
yeah,
he's
he has
great.
a sticker.
Seb is great. He's grinding 24/7. Him and Nills. I mean, I'm amazed at how hard they grind and how much respect they have for this thing of ours. It's a beautiful thing to see how they pass on knowledge, how they're constantly looking for deals. They're shooting ideas back and forth. I don't belong in our little chat. I always kind of like tell them that I feel like I'm cheating because those guys are really intense about it, and it's beautiful to watch. Beautiful to watch up close. Shout out to
Again,
Seb.
I would say one thing, Andres. Again, your energy is unmatched, it's incredible. And again, this panel, there is a logic behind. I also get a lot of inspiration from Al. Nils is also always grinding time on Instagram. So all of you, all three guys inspire me, and I think there is a lot of members in the community. They
I
have
was
the same feeling.
stalking Al's Instagram yesterday. Like I was I was making a top 10 list for 2023. And so where do you start? You go to El Rey Collection and you scroll down and you start, wait, I don't have that. I don't have that. What do I want to look for? So yeah, I mean, there's lots of people in the hobby that offer inspiration, but not only offer inspiration, but also offer a helping hand,
Yeah.
which everyone here does, and many others. So that's honestly the coolest part about the hobby is it's very welcoming, and the information that's being shared. I mean, I pick Scott's brain, all the time, and others, and it's just amazing the information that some of these people have and are willing to share, and sometimes at the cost of their own collection. And I know that happens to Al all the time. I mean, he offers information that sometimes makes him not get certain items, because someone goes after it or he bows out, just because that's who he is. So that's the coolest thing about this for me, for sure, without a doubt.
Guys, now let's move on for a topic. This question was actually brought by Andres Champ. Top three, let's go three pickups of 22 and the reasons why. Let's start with Al on this one.
Ooh.
Probably the worst person, probably because he picks so many stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 2022 was a crazy good year for me in pickups. I kind of think of things in different levels because I can get just excited about a $5 card or $100 card as one that costs a lot more than that. But I'm probably gonna say the PSA 9 Puskas rookie was, to me, just a massive card. I mean, it's so that to me was just crazy. I had previously the highest, which is a PSA 6, and to see a 9 and see it in person at the National, I was just floored by that card. But that's not a card you can buy off eBay, for a couple $100, right? So it was kind of you have to look at those cards in a very different light from my perspective, because if you're going to put, that type of money into a card, you need to be convinced not only that you want it for your collection, but that you're not going to, throw away a ton of money on it. So I think those and that doesn't always appeal to me. I usually come to this hobby for enjoyment and trying not, like I think I've mentioned before, like my original objective of getting into the hobby was, a nice distraction, learn about history, find new things, get things from all over the world, meet people from all over the world, and have fun. And I almost looked at it like, okay, if I never recovered a penny, would this still be a worthwhile, goal for me? And for me, it was. So it was very much not about investing, because that's what I do every day at my day job, and I just didn't want to have to do that for my hobby. But that card, I had to think a little bit more, but I love the card, right? So it's crazy important card to me. The next one would probably be the Di Stefanos. And Champ, saw me unbox one of these live. I ultimately found another 3 Di Stefanos from Argentina, which are incredibly difficult to find. And I had been searching and hypothesizing these cards that existed for more than 10 years. And so when you're on a 10-year grind and you finally find something, it's just crazy, right? The excitement. And then you find it, and then you have to come to terms, which is not always easy in a market that's going like this, but people have been seeing values go like this. So it's really hard when things aren't trading to come to a deal when people know what they have, right? So the Di Stefanos is probably number 2. And then ironically, an F1 card that, again, I wasn't sure, existed, had thought so, but it was just beautiful. It's a Fangio, Popo card from 1948. I just thought that was just amazing. That I'm not a huge player in the F1 market. I have a small tight collection, but finding that 1948, when most people thought his rookie was 1951, was a pretty epic find to me. And then subsequently getting it graded by PSA with the set was big. So I'd say that the 2022, and honestly, there's tons of other cards, because 2022 I put probably more than I should have into my soccer card collecting, but I couldn't help myself. There are so many good deals, and when you see stuff, you got it. And I have a pretty understanding wife, and she's willing to go there, and our kids are, one's finishing with college and another one, so we're kind of transitioning. So I don't recommend people to put their savings into cards, and I always recommend asset allocation. But for 2023, man, I overdid it, but I'm still happy that I did.
Congrats, all of them, because, like you said, Stefan, Puskás, we are talking about some of the most important players, and especially also through rarity in a lot of stuff. For people that may not be aware, Fangio, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, basically the Pelé of F1. Am I off on that?
Yeah.
Or is fair to say?
Yeah, he had 5 F1 championships, and just a great racer throughout South America, in Argentina. So yeah, I'd say he, prior to Schumacher, Hamilton, kind of like I'd consider him the GOAT. The vintage GOAT. So that's right up my alley. A lot of his cards come from Argentina. Actually, Nick knows that. He's got some of his cards as well. Very, very, very collectible figure in F1, I would say.
Okay. Let's go with Andres. Top 3 pickups and the reasons.
All right. First,
Andres, you had time to think.
No, I know. I'm ready. I already got it ready. So show Al something really fast. I felt he would appreciate this one, given what happened the last couple of days. Al, tell me this is beautiful, man. Ready? You ready? You ready? Wait.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting the Ronaldo.
No. I have that. I have like that one here
Al,
too, but
you are muted.
mute Al.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know you've been looking for the Salo R9, but that's the Pele. That's nice.
Pele. That's a nice one, right? All right.
Yeah.
Great photo, actually.
Yeah, I love that one, right? Oh man. I don't know where I got obviously it was on eBay, but when I saw that, I was like, it's unstuck, Salo back. I need it, and I attacked it. So mine are weird. First, I have to show this one first. I mean, for me, my brother was really big into Baggio. So for me, it was always about I like Brazil, he liked Italy. That was always the thing. He passed away like 7, what I'm saying, like years ago, but his favorite player was Baggio. And when I was able to kind of grab this one, I was able to get the whole set, which I'm number 2 in the world. Number 1 is Al. But I was able to get this at a nice price. I didn't care about the price. I just wanted one of these because, like Al said, I believe this is rare. Are there more going to pop up? Yes, I do believe there's some dude in Sicily right now making some cheese or stepping on some grapes on some wine that has like 4 of these in like a cardboard box. But to me, to have this in my collection was very, very cool. So I love this one. I love this whole set. It has a lot of cool players in it. There's what's called like a Paulo that I want, and also a Zico, which Matt is also trying to find right now too as well.
Maldini, Zico, Maradona.
Yeah, oof, classic, right? So I love this one. Like the fact that there's 10 on like the pop report, and I have one of them, that makes me feel good about this one going forward, right? Number 2, I actually asked Al about this one, and I knew it was good when Al's like, get it, brother. But if you don't want it, I'll get it. And when he said that, I remember kind of like telling Nills, like, that's it. I'm going. Like, I was gonna get it, but I guess asking Al about it, I knew that I had to get it. So this is the unstuck, the red and blue back of an iconic. I think this is iconic as it gets. These are what's called like hand cut. So this one is centered very nicely. It has like a little hole in it. You can kind of see it on his head. But he still looks sexy to me. So I'm very happy about this one.
Okay. Can you guys actually share what?
Do you know why that's rare, Andre?
No, exactly. That was my question.
Yeah. So the 1970 World Cup stickers. There's 3 standard versions. There's the typical greenback from that's issued in Italy, and that's the most common. And then there's a bis valida, which is normally in the back of Panini stickers. They'll just have a valida. They increased the price in 1970, and they made the backs counted for twice. So that's why they have the bis valida. There are no validas in 1970 World Cup stickers. And then they had an international version, which are red and black backs that went outside of Italy and distributed, in the UK as well. And then when you bought an album, I have one, I just don't have one here. You open it up and there was a strip of cards that help you start your collection, right? Like this, like he's perfectly showing that. And then those all have the red and blue backs, and you would cut those out of the album and start, right? And most of those ended up stuck or, cut. So you can find PSAs rated the full panel, right? Or you can find the individual cards, but a lot of those, were destroyed or badly cut or were immediately cut and pasted into the album, right? So finding a blue and red back is by far the most difficult back variation to find in 1970 Panini World Cup stickers. Now they're hand cut, so a lot of people don't love that, but it's just the way that they were intended. So I'm always fine with, hey, if that's the way it was intended, go ahead and get it. So I think the pop on that is less than 10. they're out there. People collect these. These are highly collectible items. So there's definitely more than that. But that's kind of the lore. It's an important, sticker because it's just hard to get. And if you're going to put together the rainbow, you need that one, and it's the toughest one of the four.
So basically, to summarize what Al said, I am a lucky SOB. I have amazing plugs that they just, obviously I'm like a whale, and they reach out to me and they'll have amazing things. When this came up, I literally was shaking in my space boots. So I'm very glad to have it. I love it. I absolutely adore it. I mean, it's beautiful to me. Oh my God. And
Congrats
so going
again.
forward, thank you. Yeah, that was big for me. And then next, so this one is like an honorable mention, but I got this as a gift. I first learned about it through Scott. He kind of like had showed me this, and I freaked out. And then I was able to get to get this copy from Pip. Pip, like he got it and he sent it to me free of charge. And this one right here, a Greek pibe.
Oh, nice. Podereme.
This one's really cool. Like, I don't know what year we're thinking, 88 to 90. We're not really sure. But this to me is beautiful, right? It's from Greece. I hope to travel to Greece one day and get a suntan out there. And number 3, it arrived yesterday. I thought it was fitting to kind of cap off the year for me. I already kind of like talked about this one, and I was shocked that I was able to get it, because when you first kind of like come, in this hobby, before you get your pre-war starter pack, your vintage starter pack, the Cindelars and the what's called like Vanderhoots, that when you start to travel down those roads, I thought I was never going to get this, and I was able to get this. And I'm still on cloud 9 with this one. It's a really nice copy. It's centered nice. I feel it should be a PSA 9.5. That's just me personally. But it's beautiful, beautiful back. And I'm blessed, man. I keep saying that word over and over again, but for someone like me, kind of a idiot in this hobby, to have these 3, man, I'm blessed, like beyond blessed. And last but not least, just real quick, Escobar season has returned. I found these 3. I was looking for these 3. I was able to get them. Made my PC. Man, I love Andres Escobar. His story, if you don't know it, watch 30 for 30. A tale of 2
Crazy story. Yeah.
Escobars. Yeah, it's a tragic story. So I'm very glad to have those. And now we'll let Nills show us his France and German collection that he's been stacking up on.
No, but congrats, in all of them, Andres.
Thank you.
If
Thank
there
you.
is a
Thank you.
person that deserves it,
Right.
Nills,
Well,
feel free.
hard to compete with either of those, but yeah, I was thinking about this, and believe it or not, I had in 2021, so I guess in the last year, no Copas, no Platinis, and over 1 year time have been able to build pretty nice collections in both of those. So that was sort of nice to reflect on in a short period of time. And really, I think this is just a great sort of a pitch for this hobby, is in a year and not a ton of money to be able to manufacture 2 really nice collections for some players of those statures is pretty cool to think about. So top 3, I have to go. I don't have it here to show, but my new Dixie Dean rookie that is sitting in the PWCC vault right now. So my biggest purchase ever, I believe, dollar wise. And yeah, I mean, it's just epic card to me. I think eventually will be one of the more epic cards in the pre-war hobby. So excited to have that. Really appreciate the seller that decided to list that. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
Actually,
Um,
Nick, I'm sorry. I know there is still to go, but even for all, I will put the card you guys are saying on the screen, basically. You guys have mentioned.
okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you some scans on it.
No, for sure.
So super pumped about that. I'll probably have it sent home here in a little bit, but so I haven't held it in hand yet. So it's one of those things. I pull up my vault and look at it every other day or so just to make sure it's still there and everything. So excited. Next thing is I'll show this. So
Ooh, panel.
this is 1960 Mirror Sprint 3-person panel including Pele. So this comes from France. I think right now there's 3 of these graded at PSA. So I mean, it's not something that you see all the time. This is a PSA 5, so it's in really nice condition. And it's a French issue Pele. So for me, that sort of brings it all together for my collection. The go hard, Pele that no one has. That's a French issue. I also I shared on the Discord the other day, but I have the Pele, just the Pele cutout, and that was graded by PSA. I haven't got it back yet, but that'll be the first one I think graded with just the Pele. So I have both versions, which is pretty cool. And again, it's something that you don't see. You just don't really see. I'm sure there's more out there, but on a regular basis, you don't see them. Those are the only 2 that I've seen come up for sale, and I grabbed them both. I know there's a couple other people in the Discord that have some raw copies, but yeah, super excited. And then the last one was sort of it's again something I've posted a few times, but it's this. Let's see. So it's this Raymond Copa. I don't know, maybe there. So this is what I've determined to be 1952, 1953. It's a French issue from Donut Chocolatier. So the cool thing about that is I found it with the entire set. You all right, Andres?
Yeah. It's emotional.
I found it with the entire set. So it's a set of 70. It has some other, French legends in it. It lists the teams of the players, which allows me to basically date the issue, which French issues are notorious for not only, having very minimal information available, but spanning, many years, not necessarily being having albums where they're issued in, where you could be able to identify the year or the team, or they weren't numbered. In this specific issue, it says on the back it's an issue out of 70 players, and then it also has a card number. And then it also has their team name, so you can really narrow it down, which I was able to 52, 53. And I'm hoping that with that information that I've compiled, that I should be able to grade it, which would be semi-significant because right now, just because of the lack of information, I don't think there is a 52 or older French issued Copa graded at PSA right now. So it's definitely not the earliest. I think there's earlier issues, but it's one that can be properly, I think, identified year wise. So super excited about that. hopefully PSA, works with me and I can get it graded. I think I have enough information. So, but that's it. Yeah. Really fun to sort of remember 2022. Look forward to 2023. I made my top 10 list. And there's some hard cards, but as we mentioned before, I think, this year, has shown us that, things are going to pop up. Things that we didn't think were available are going to be available. I think the same will say for next year, and that's got me super excited. So I asked Champ how many he thought I was going to get of my top 10, and he said, "Oh, you'll have all by August." And I was like, "Champ, none of only one of these has been seen in the last year. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I'm hoping to at least knock down a couple of them."
No, congrats again. Amazing stuff also.
Could I add something to his Dean? So that night, that was an intense night for me. Like, knowing that he was after that, knowing that he wanted it. He's been, Nills' Dean, Copa, and Zizou. Like that's his thing. And well, for now, right? Because now he's now in like another continent. I'm not gonna spill the beans on that. But to see him get that and to be following that at night, me and Seb were watching him, and he kind of played it cool in a certain way, but I was so happy for him, knowing his grind and how much time he puts in, takes care of his family, is constantly driving an hour here, 2 hours there for work. And to see him get something that he truly wanted. I mean, price wasn't a factor. I think he wanted this so bad, and to see him get it as his friend and just as someone in his hobby, that was one of the more emotional nights for me in this year, was seeing him get that card. And he mentioned it, I got the Dean, but to me, that was such a big, like, a moment for him, for me to see that everything that you want, you can get if you work your ass off, you grind hard for it. It is possible. So I wanted to applaud Nills for that, because I felt he didn't really show or exude that type of energy for that card that he got. It's such a beautiful card. That Dean I think is going to be one of the top issues going forward. And I'm so glad he got it, man. That was a crazy night, just watching that auction. That auction kept going. And the next morning, we're at night. I'm going to sleep. Like, did he get it? Did he get it? And then he got it as his buddy, as his friend. That was awesome, man. So congrats to Nills on a freaking amazing year. And I'm very glad that it's in your fucking vault, brother. So
again, congrats all of you guys. I guess
Andre,
if I had
Hey, Andre, what were yours?
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was trying to say now. Difficult to say a top 3, but I'm going with the vintage, a pre-modern, and the modern card. With vintage, a bit difficult because I really like Maradona, but I'm going with Cruyff Polyrex. I did not have one, and I think that's a very important card in vintage, one of my favorites. I bought one quite recently, 4 or 5 months ago. For pre-modern, modern is also tough because I bought a lot of stuff, but probably going with Xavi, the 19A sticker. I'm a huge Barca fan, and I love Xavi, Iniesta, all of these guys. So that's probably in my eyes at least, the find. And in modern, if I went with Xavi, I go with Iniesta. I got the top scrum pad out of 10, top scrum 2017. I have to say, I got a lot of offers for that card for a lot of money. So for now, it's still mine. Who knows in the future? But those are my 3 choices. 3 players that I believe are mine. So guys, I don't have any more topics, but feel free to talk about something if you want. Otherwise, we also can call it.
I just want to know if Champ really was down, and he really had Dom Perignon in the air. It
Oh yeah, no, it's done. It's done. There's nothing.
Mimosa.
Mimosas to today. I'm ready now for like the day. We open in about 5 minutes. I don't recommend anybody do what I just did, but I think this was a special event. Man, as you know, as I was taught by goats, get what you want. Like go after it. Put in the time, put in the grind, be ready. Learn from others, applaud when others win. I think, this thing of ours is something that has to be it's all about energy. And there's times when I know that folks get down and that folks are stressed out, but I think we got to applaud each other's victories. We got to applaud when people share so much information. We have to applaud our goats that constantly give us, you know what I'm saying, like inspiration. Al, like like we all know us three, me, Andre, and Nills know that for me, without Al, I'm not where I'm at all. Without Bill, I'm not where I'm at all. Without Scott, little bits of information that he's acquired, it's like all these people that constantly give all this information. I think people need to be applauded more than they are. I think people put in time, and when people share info like that, it's such a great thing. And this year I'm coming. I'm ready. I'm not gonna buy a house till June or July. So for the next 6 months, Daddy Pop's back. I'm feeling myself. I have my list. I'm going after great things that I feel are obviously gonna sit well with me and be able to hear all of these creepy like conversations that I have with my cards. And just spread love, spread energy, good energy, kill all of that negative stuff. This is about having fun, finding your lane. You learn a lot about yourself. You kind of look at certain things in a whole nother light now, because you're grinding and you know that this could possibly help your children, your wife, your grandkids going forward. It's something that makes it such a special thing. For us, we're geeks. We're crackheads. Like I've always said, I'm a full-blown crackhead. I'm proud to say it. When I mean crack, I spell it with the Q and the U, not like the actual crack rock from the mid-'80s. I'm a full-blown crackhead. I love this thing. Watching this World Cup, it got me really back into it. Like I've been playing FIFA. I got whooped 5-0 by France, and I felt good. I was like, hell yeah, like France whooped me 5-0. I was like the happiest person in the world. But I feel that that's all because of the cards, of the hunting, that I know all the players on France. I know all the players that I'm playing with. And that's just what it's about, man. I'm sorry, I'm tipsy now. It's bad now. I told y'all, once this comes out, it's bad.
Okay.
But now, man, I'm glad I'm hunting good stuff coming forward. I just grabbed, I call it my Christmas miracle, which was, I got this about, I want to say a couple of days ago. And I'm in love with this one as well. I'm in love with this one as well. I've been wanting one of these. So now it's on to the Card Master. It's on to a couple of others that I have on my list. I know that they're a lot more rare. Like all the stuff that I've grabbed, I feel like it was easy to get. This other stuff is telling me that I'm gonna have to grind for it, and I'm here for it. I'm
Card
here
Master.
to
That Card Master's man. I didn't get mine until I was like 14 years in the hobby, man. Or 13.
Those are super hard to come by.
Yeah.
And then there's fakes, which makes it even kind of tougher.
Yeah, I mean, shoot me at those if you get those, because I have a number of the fakes just to go through. But I think it's really, kind of to sum up kind of a little bit what Champ's talking about, what makes this more fun than just doing it on your own is the community, right? And so actually, if people are listening after however long we've been on this call, they're probably already part of the community. So we're probably, talking to disciples, but, whether it's the, vintage soccer cards community, or the Facebook communities, or the soccer study, Discord, or I'm sure your Patreon's more or less the same. It's really just about finding the group of people that support what you want to do in a constructive. There's going to be some competition for things, right? Let's not say that's not going to be zero, but in a positive way, right? So I think that what we want to what I want for the hobby is that it continues to be a fun place, and we continue to be open, even if it's to our detriment, about information, because we'll all do better if the hobby does better, and it will always have more fun if there are people to share things with, as opposed to just being on an island and doing things on your own. I mean, Bill will tell you that he nearly gave up collecting because there was nobody to talk to about it, right? And I can only talk to Scott and Noel and Bill so many times before we look at each other and say, I got nothing else, right? So it's really fun to watch from my perspective, and I'm sure Bill as well, and others, Scott, so many people having so much fun and getting joy out of the same thing we do, which is honestly pretty weird. We track down little old pieces of cardboard, or stickers that kids would buy in the supermarket, from 20 years ago. I mean, it is a little weird. So, but we love seeing that, we're not the only weirdos, and that people get real, true serotonin release from collecting, doing the grind, and finding stuff. And I think that's still absolutely alive, just like Nills was talking about here, right? It's absolutely, the grind is alive, and you can do really well economically, and you can do incredibly well from a fun perspective to participate in the grind and be an active member of a community, and no questions are stupid. If you're just getting in, ping us all, post on the board, post your questions, ask, get knowledgeable. And I think that for a lot of people, they'll find a really nice home in these communities. Right? Is it perfect? No. Right? Are there going to be some people that rub you the wrong way from time to time? Sure. But I think as a community, it's just a really nice, I've been in many different hobby segments, and this is just a really nice one, generally. Right. So it's something I've enjoyed, continue to enjoy. I think I'm entering like my 15th year. I just realized the other day of like collecting mostly soccer. I do collect other things, but mostly soccer. That's a long time, to collect. And I'm not alone. There's many other people that have been doing it. And so if any of your viewers here, Andre, want to come to the vintage, soccer card Discord, that we'd love to have them, over there. Again, this is it's Bill's Discord, not mine, but I think there's some great stuff over there, and of course participate in the soccer study Discord as well. So that's the last of my commercial, but I really believe it.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add from me, but just reach out. I'm available in the Discord, IG. If you have any questions, I don't know everything, and I actually don't know that much, to be honest. But if it's a French issue, or some of the players that you see me collect, feel free, reach out. More than happy to add anything that I have to offer. So appreciate you allowing us to be on here and chat with you. Just
my pleasure.
looking forward to 2023, guys.
Well, I think it's everything for today. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Do not forget to like, and see you guys next time.